friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy and I create plushies and design patterns based mostly on fictional characters, but not always. As you can see by the title of this video, we're doing something a little bit different. Usually I do like vlogs, but I thought it would be fun to do something different because we're gonna do a tier ranking video today, but we're gonna rank all the projects I made in the last year, in 2025. Yeah, I've seen people tier rank their yarn. I haven't seen a lot of people tier rank, or haven't seen any people tier rank their projects before. They might be out there, I haven't seen them. I just thought it would be fun to go back through the year, look at all the plushies I made in 2025 and rank them. I spent some time yesterday gathering all the pictures of all the projects I've done, all the plushies I've done, and I did realize that I have to get better at making photos of things that I make. For some plushies I really had to dive deep, and for others I just used screenshots from YouTube videos because I didn't take a picture of them. So the photos are not all the best quality, but we're gonna have to make do. Let me explain to you the tiers that I've made. Ta-da, my tiers. Okay, so we're starting at the bottom tier. The bottom tier is called Covered in Fluff, which if you work with chenille yarn, you know it is so annoying when you're working and the fluff gets everywhere, you're sewing and everything is like covered in those little fluffies. It's the worst thing about working with chenille yarn, so that's why I put it at the bottom. Those plushies are like never, once and never again. I hated making everything about this. Never again. So this is the bottom tier, and then we're going up to the tier above that, which is lost my stitch marker. Losing your stitch marker, it happens a lot, right? It's annoying. Or when you are like in the zone crocheting and you forget to put it in. It's just annoying. Those are the plushies that like, there was so much work, I don't want to ever do this again, or it was not fun to make. It's a little bit like less aggressive than the Covered in Fluff one. So we'll see what ends up there. And the middle tier is It's Cute, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. It's cute, wouldn't necessarily remake it again. But maybe if someone asked me or commissioned me, I would do it. It's cute. Like, it's cute. Then the tier above that is Hooked, which are just plushies that I'm like, these are stunning, beautiful. I loved making those. They turned out amazing. I'm obsessed. That is that tier. And then Remake Worthy, I think also speaks for itself. Those are the plushies that I cannot get enough of making. They're beautiful, they're stunning, and I would remake them forever. So those are all my tiers. I'm gonna try and go in chronological order for a bit. Not everything will be perfectly in place from when I made it, but I've tried as much as I could to put it somewhere around there. Most of the things that I show you in this video I've talked about in previous vlogs, so if you want to see the progress of anything of that, just go to my channel and find the video for it. I will put all the creators, just all the pattern designers, I will put their name on the screen here. I know them by heart, so editing me can put them on the screen, and if you want to make them yourself, you can go check out that creator. So let's just get started on the first one, shall we? Because I have made quite a lot of plushies over the year. The first thing I made in 2025 was actually a commission for one of my friends. It was a plushie of their dog, Taro. It was okay to make. I had to modify the pattern quite a bit because of the pattern of their dog, so I had to like move stitches or add stitches in different colors, which was a little bit of work to figure out, but not that much. I think he turned out really cute. So let's rank it. Personally, I thought it was fine. I would make this again if someone commissioned me, but not by myself. So I'm gonna put him in It's Cute. The next plushie I made were actually patterns of my own, which were the Violet and Zayden patterns for Fourth Wing. I actually didn't film any of this. Yeah, they are on my Etsy and my Ko-fi shop if you want to make Violet and Zayden yourself. They were a lot of work because I had to design them completely myself. The hair, especially of Violet, was a lot of work. As in a lot of work to figure out exactly how to get the braid on the top of the head done. But I think they turned out pretty cute. So I'm gonna put them in It's Cute. I wouldn't necessarily be happy with remaking them all the time. If someone commissioned me, I would. In the future, I might have to adjust the pattern a little bit, but it's fine for now. I'm gonna put it in It's Cute. It's fine. Don't really have anything to say about this, except that it was a lot of work. I'm sorry for the glare in my glasses. It cannot be helped. Then the next thing I made was actually a testicle from Fiber Fables, and that was a pattern for Alphaba, and then he also made a mod for Glinda, which I did not necessarily test, but I made both of them anyway. But that was really fun. Those dolls were so like also pretty easy, but also really fun to make. They were just like very simplified versions of dolls, which I really like. It was fun to work with chenille yarn. Was I working with chenille yarn or Elise yarn? I don't know what I used for this, but it was fun. I wouldn't remake them again. However, I've been bringing with me to cons for about a year now and they haven't sold yet. I don't know why, because I think they're cute. Also really fun to test for Fiber Fables because their patterns are just really cute. I think I'm gonna put Glinda and Alphaba and Hooks because I would definitely make them again. After Glinda and Alphaba, I started prepping for a convention. I had a convention at the end of the month, at the end of January last year. They said it was like more sci-fi horror themed, and when we got there it wasn't really true, but I ended up prepping a Demogorgon for this. like a massive Demogorgon, which even had like a wire in the flaps. What is that called? A wire in his face, so you could like close it and then open it again, which is really awesome. Did not sell there. It actually, I made 2 of them. One of them sold a few cons later, and I still have one of them because it just hasn't sold. So I'm gonna put the Demogorgon in Lost My Stitch marker, because unless someone begged me, I would not make those again. It was a lot of work, and I have since found a pattern for a smaller Demogorgon, which are so much easier to make. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in Lost My Stitch marker. It's just not happening again. However, in that same vein, I also made an alien from the same pattern creator. This one was like a lot to, especially the head was a lot to figure out. I only made one of this, but I would remake this one again because I just really liked the way it looked. I'm debating. Yeah, I would make the alien again. So I'm gonna put the alien in its cube, just a little bit above the Demogorgon. But maybe because I made 2 of the Demogorgons and only one of the alien, I am bitter. That is where I'm gonna put the alien. It was actually kind of creepy with the way he turned out, even though he was like a plushie. Then next up I have the Gengars, which if you watch my channel, you will know I love Gengar. I love this pattern. It's by Minecraft, if I pronounce it right, Minecraft. Such a great pattern for a Gengar. I love making this Gengar. It is so fun, so easy, so cute. It's like such a cute version of the Gengar. So I have no choice but to put him in remake worthy, because I think I've made like 6 of them this year. They're just amazing, and they sell at every convention. And that is the first plushie we've put in the remake worthy tier. Yay! Okay, we're moving on to, oh my god, this is when I made Nessie, like the big Loch Ness Monster plushie. That was so much work, but he turned out so cute. I would make this again, honestly. Yeah. Because it was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. And also, it was not that difficult. The most difficult work was sewing everything on correctly. Everything from the head to the tail is one thing. You only have to sew on the ears and the fins. Fins. And all the spikes on the spine. I loved making Nessie. I have been bringing him to conventions for like a year now, and it hasn't sold yet. But the price is also pretty high because of the amount of work that has gone into it. But I definitely remake this again. So I'm gonna put her in Hooked, because I haven't done it yet, but I would love to make different variations, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with them because I do not have the space to like store all those Nessies. Please, someone commission me. I would love to make another one. Yeah, so I'm gonna put Nessie in Hooked because I don't know if I will ever make another one, but they're so much fun. Moving on, I had a entire video dedicated to making the viral mushroom guy. It was a pattern for a small mushroom, but it went viral because someone used blanket yarn and it turned out the size of a toddler. And I thought it would be really fun to do that as well. So I made this giant mushroom, and I still have it. I only brought it with me to one convention, and that was basically just to like fill up table because I had a 4-meter table there, and I priced it really high there. So if someone wanted to buy it for that amount, I would gladly let it go, but I didn't really want to. So it is still in my living room where I put it in that video. Yeah, I loved making this mushroom guy. It was so much fun. Would I make it again? Perhaps for a commission, but it was so fun. Maybe I would remake it again, but then with a smaller yarn, so I can have like a baby mushroom guy. So I'm gonna put the mushroom guy in Hooked together with Nessie because they're big projects, but they were so much fun to work on. And then maybe I will remake him some other day in smaller yarn. Like maybe I'll bring him to conventions, because the tiny mushrooms I make, I will get back to those later, they always sell really well. So maybe we should just do a whole mushroom army. After the mushroom guy, I started prepping for AnimeCon, which if you have seen my vlog for that, I got off the wait list like 4 weeks before that con, so I had to prep a lot. And the first 2 things I made were actually Luffy and Buggy from One Piece. The Luffy doll has sold, but not at the AnimeCon. It sold a few cons later, and the Buggy doll I still have. Nobody likes Impel Down Buggy as much as I do, I guess. Fun patterns to make. Would I remake them? Probably not. So I'm gonna put both of them in It's Cute. If someone commissioned me, sure, but I don't think I would remake them again, especially because I also made another Luffy later in the year. They're gonna go in It's Cute. It's cute. I would make them again for a commission, but not, I don't think I would make them again for a convention, especially not the Buggy, because I've been bringing the Buggy with me for a while now, and he doesn't even get that much attention, which is sad because I love Impel Down Buggy. I was so happy when I saw this pattern, but I guess I'm the only one. Then next I ended up, oh no, I actually made the mandrakes earlier in the year and I just put them there. I don't know why. Whatever. That's what I said about mostly being in chronological order, because I remember I made them for Geeks and Freaks, which was around the same time as the alien. It's fine. We're gonna go with them now. Mandrakes, love them. Have remade them since. I made 2 of them for Geeks and Freaks, and they both sold at Geeks and Freaks, and then I made more, and only one of them have sold since. And that was at my literally last convention. But I love them. They have like a booty. They have a literal booty. They're so cute. They have like the roots coming out of their body. I love them. So I'm gonna put them in remake worthy, because I would remake the shit out of these mandrakes if people buy them. Please buy them at cons so I can make more. They're so fun. And they're not that difficult either. I believe the head and the body are even one piece. I think so. I would have to check the pattern, but it's not a lot of sewing anyway. So yeah, mandrake, remake worthy. I love those. And I sell them including the pot, because it's more fun when they're in the pot and you can take them out like a proper one. We're moving on to some Final Fantasy plushies, because I made a chocobo and a moogle for AnimeCon. Did I already own them? No, I made both of them, I think. See, oh my god, I cannot even remember. But I made a chocobo and I made a moogle, and I would definitely remake those again. Especially remade the chocobo like 3 times now. I haven't made the moogle since. Maybe I will do that? I don't know. The moogle did sell at AnimeCon though. I'm gonna put them in hooked, because they're cute enough to remake, but then they have to sell, and I feel like it really depends on the type of people at a convention if it will sell or not. So hooked, because I do love making the chocobo because it's so chunky. I love it. But yeah, they will have to sell, which I should not take into consideration, but I am gonna. The moogle was okay. They're in the same picture together, so that's why I'm gonna put them in hooked, because I would put the moogle in cute, but I would put the chocobo in remake worthy. We're gonna go in the middle. We're gonna put them in hooked. Then I made a bunch of new Pokemon that I hadn't made before. So I made a little Onyx, which was so small and cute. You just had to make all the pieces separately and then sew them together, which was not that difficult and so cute. I would remake this again. I don't know why I haven't, but I would remake this again. So I'm gonna put it in hooked because it's cute. And it sold the first con I took it to. And then I made an Azurill, which I have made 3 or 4 of this year, and they all sold, so I might have to remake those again. So I'm gonna put those in hooked as well. I made some keychains then, some Suit Sprite keychains. They were like, but they were like Oreo Suit Sprites, because they literally look like an Oreo just with eyes and stars. It's fine. I worked with glue for this to attach the stars because I didn't want to sew them on, which was annoying. Would not remake those again, I think. I mean, they are cute, but I don't think I would remake those again. So I'm gonna put those in Lost My Stitch marker. The Poro from League of Legends, it was fine. They're really easy to make, but I'm not that excited about them, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna put those also in Lost My Stitch marker. Not because they're difficult to make, but because I'm not that excited by making them. Then I, for AnimeCon, also prepped a bear toast, which is supposed to be like, oh my god, what is the name of that thing? Rilakuma? I'll put a picture on the screen of what it was supposed to look like. Mine obviously didn't look like that because I don't like using felt. I try to avoid working with felt because I don't like it. I cannot cut shapes for the life of me. It never, it doesn't turn out well most of the time. So I've tried to avoid using felt, but I bought that pattern and I guess I didn't really take that into account. So my bear toast didn't come out looking like the pattern at all. Also, trying to sew that on the bread was so difficult. So never again. This is the first one we put in there though. That's pretty good. It did sell though, which I did not expect. But I'm never making that again. That was a one-time thing. And then I made a bob-omb throughout the year, which I do like making the bob-ombs. They're really fun. That's also one of the only times I have used felt. And that was just for the eyes. So that was, I think that was doable. I'm gonna put this in hooked. Yeah, why not? I like making those. As you can see, I literally took a screenshot from the video because I didn't have a picture of it. But I will remake those again. They're really fun. And then it's time for some patterns that I made myself. And I dedicated a whole video to this, which are the Love and Deep Space emoji pattern. If you don't play Love and Deep Space, it's about 5 guys you can romance. In the game you can text the guys and they all have different emojis that they respond with. So I made the emojis for that. I'm gonna put all of them in remake worthy because I've made all of them like a couple times already. And they are really fun to make. Which, is this biased? Maybe. But I'm gonna put them there anyway because they're fun to remake and I've done that a few times already. I will say a few of them are easier to remake than others, especially like the Artsy Burp, which has a lot of like separate pieces that you have to sew on. And the Snowman, those are a little bit more difficult to make than the Grumpy Crow and the Apple. Those are like really easy. But I'm gonna put all of them in remake because I've remade them like 3 or 4 times. And it keeps being fun to make them. So I'm gonna put them there. But yeah, they are my own patterns. You can find them on my Etsy and my Ko-fi shop in the link down below if you wanna make your own. I made a gift for my sister-in-law who's obsessed with Miffy. I made a Miffy pillow, which was okay. I don't think I would necessarily remake that, but for my sister-in-law it was a really nice gift. So I'm gonna put it in Lost My Stitch marker because I don't really feel the need to remake that one again. Next up, I got a commission at AnimeCon for a Krabby Pokemon, which I ended up having to make my own pattern for because it did not exist anywhere. I think I have it for free on my Instagram. I do have it for free on my Instagram. I just needed to check. But yeah, I made a Krabby pattern and the Krabby plush for someone that commissioned me. And I actually did a little mod on it. So it had magnets on the head and the pincers. They could go up like this, so it could hold a TCG card because that person had like a whole binder full of Krabby cards, and I thought it would be really fun if they could showcase like a card on the Krabby itself. So I did a little mod for that, which I've also explained in the pattern. So if you go to my Instagram, you can find the pattern there. Would I remake this if I got commissioned for it? Sure. I'm gonna put it in. It's cute because I would definitely make it again for a commission. I don't think I would bring it with me to an event, so I'm not gonna remake it for an event because I don't think it's a popular enough Pokemon for that. So yeah, I would remake it again for a commission. Then I did I did 3 pattern tests in a row when I'm looking at it now. I actually did a Silas head, which I put on a keychain and I gave it to my friend later. But that one was also fun to make. Would I remake this again? Not for conventions. It's cute. Then I ended up doing a tester call for this Grumpy Cat, also by Fiber Fables. And I used, for the first time ever, I used the Little Darling yarn for this, which is like really soft yarn, but really soft small yarn, which was so much fun to work with. And I would make this again because it's so freaking cute. And it's so grumpy, I love him. So I'm gonna put him in Hooked because it's really cute. And then next I ended up doing a tester call for a Majin Buu pattern, which I applied for specifically because my husband loves Dragon Ball. Loved making this pattern. Everything was so well explained. The details on the face were like, everything was like so well described. There were so many pictures. I loved it because it was so detailed. And it was a lot of work. I made it with acrylic yarn so the details and stuff would come out better. But it was so much fun to make. So I'm gonna put Majin Buu in Hooked because I would definitely remake him again, even though he's a lot of work. He's literally standing right there. Do you see him? Do you see him? He's literally standing right there. Yeah, if you also love Dragon Ball and you want to make Majin Buu for yourself or someone else, that pattern is amazing. I would highly recommend it. Then I ended up making some tiny dragons, which yeah, I don't really care about. I brought them with me to a con and so far 3 of them have sold. I would not remake those again. They're okay. I'm gonna put them in Lost My Stitch marker. I still have one left. Then I went into a month where I ended up making things that were not necessarily plushies. I ended up making a small pin cushion for a friend because she takes sewing lessons. I thought it would be fun to make a little pin cushion for her for her birthday. I made it look like a little flower pot and I bought some pins that were like little butterflies on them so it would look like the butterflies were sitting on the flowers. I loved how it turned out. It was really cute. And I think I needed to use a popcorn stitch for it, if I remember correctly, which was, I love doing the popcorn stitch. It's so much fun. Not enough better to use a popcorn stitch. Where am I gonna put her? It's cute. I would remake this again. I don't have any use of them myself. It was fun. It was not very time consuming to make. One of my friends gave birth in the summer and I made a baby mobile for her. At the end of last year, I made a baby mobile for one of my friends. And then I said to the friend who gave birth in the summer, if you want me to make a baby mobile for you, I will also do that, just let me know. She took me up on the offer and gave me some inspo pics because their nursery was like panda themed. So I made a little panda sitting on a moon, some leaves, some clouds. And I think it turned out really cute. I don't know where I need to put this though. I have since made another baby mobile for another friend, but I haven't given it yet, so that's why it's not on the tier ranker. I don't want her to see what it looks like before I've given it to her. I think I'm gonna put the baby mobile in Hooked because I have made 3 of these now. It's always a fun challenge to figure out how to put all the pieces together, what I'm gonna use, the vibe of it. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in Hooked. I don't mind making these for my pregnant friends, so I'm gonna put them in Hooked. Next up, I ended up I was prepping for a convention. I just don't remember which convention. Oh, I ended up prepping for Geek Village Summerfest, and I ended up making a bunch of Studio Ghibli things, like the Calcifer, the No Face, the Baby Totoro. I put them all separately, as you can see, because the Calcifer, freaking love, remake worthy, love him, so cute. I would remake them infinitely. But the No Face, covered in love. Never doing those again. Especially the triangles were a a bitch to get right. I had like so many attempts trying to get those to sit properly on the face. So I'm never doing those again. The Baby Totoro, hooked. Would remake those, have remade those in the past. But the Calcifer is just the cutest of them all. So that one is going in remake worthy. And then I made Derpy from K-pop Demon Hunters because K-pop Demon Hunters was like just out when I made that one. And I thought it would sell for sure. It hasn't yet though. Maybe because the price is too high, because Derpy is too big. I don't know. Thought it was fun to make, but a lot of work, especially the eyes, because I had to figure the eyes out myself because the pattern uses felt eyes. And like I said, I don't like using felt eyes. So I modded the eyes, freehanded the eyes. I think it turned out amazing and I get a lot of compliments on Derpy. It just hasn't sold yet. So where are my super fans? Don't think I would remake this again, maybe for a commission. And I have seen other patterns since that are like for smaller Derpies that I would possibly rather do than a big one. So I'm gonna put Derpy in, lost my stitch marker. Sorry Derpy, I still love you. Then I ended up working with Little Darling yarn again to make some pigment. I also talked about this in the video, but they are not very cold preppable because they take a little bit of time to make, especially because the yarn is so small. However, I did end up remaking them because they all ended up selling, which I did not expect actually. I thought I would make them once, they would sit there for like a couple months and then I would like never make them again. But I have remade all 3 of them since. I would love to also make them someday with maybe a leash yarn and see how big they turn out. So I'm gonna put them in hooked, I think, because I would make them again. Oh no, you can do there. I like that most of the plushies have been in hooked so far. That means I had a good year crocheting. Then I ended up making a suit of voodoo. Made this one for Geek Village Summerfest and it also sold at Geek Village Summerfest. And then I ended up making a Sakura version of it I think a month later. But I just put them together. It's fine. Where am I going to put those? Oh my god, where am I going to put those? I think I like the Sakura version better for myself. But it doesn't really matter because the pattern is the same. I will say that they are really easy because the suit of voodoo itself, the log bit of the pseudo voodoo is just one big piece and then you need to make a couple of smaller pieces. I'm just gonna put them both in hooked because I remade it and they're both cute. Yeah, why not? I'm gonna put them both in hooked. Or do I put this one in it's cute and keep the Sakura version in hooked because I like the Sakura version more? Yeah, sure. Yeah. And not to say that I don't like the normal pseudo voodoo, but I think the Sakura version is just a little bit cuter. Then I made some more little Pokemon that I don't have pictures of, so I screenshotted it from YouTube videos. I made a Chikorita, which lost my stitch marker. It was fine. I thought it was like a little bit of a sad version of a Chikorita. I thought from the pattern itself it would be a little bit cuter, but I'm not gonna make those again. And then I made a Diglett, which it's cute. I don't think I'm gonna make it again. I made some Stardew Valley slimes, which are really easy but not as much fun, so lost my stitch marker. And then I ended up working on a Genu, which I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but I bought a pattern pack for Genu and the Huntrix and I haven't made the Huntrix yet. But I feel like the K-pop Demon Hunter hype has died down a little bit, so I don't know why I made a Genu. He does look amazing though, but I don't think I would remake him again. Maybe as a commission? Oh my god, why is this so difficult? Okay, I did like making Genu. I would not make him again necessarily unless someone commissioned me for it. So I'm gonna put Genu in It's Cute. Why is this so difficult? I'm literally debating if I'm gonna put him in It's Cute or lost my stitch marker. No, I'm gonna put him in It's Cute because it was easier to do than the Derpy the Tiger. We're moving on. I crocheted some One Piece hats. I made the patterns for those. They're fun. They're really cute. They're super easy to make. I batch made a bunch of these. So hooked. Or remake worthy, I guess. I don't know. Since I've already remade those a bunch of times and I would not mind remaking them again, I'm gonna put them in remake worthy. Why are most of the plushies in remake worthy my own patterns? I guess that's good. And then I made some Japanese snacks as keychains also, which are the taiyaki and the dango stick, which I remade, but I don't think I would remake them again because none of them are sold. I'm gonna put the snacks in hooked. Because they're cute. I would make them again if people buy them. And then oh my god, I did my autumn crochet decor video, which was, oh my god, was such a fun video to make. I actually ended up making a bunch of like fall gnomes, because I got this book called Amigurumi Gnomes, and it had like gnomes for every season and every event, and it had like a few options for fall gnomes. So I made the Halloween ones with a little pumpkin. I loved making those gnomes. I want to make more gnomes. I would love to have like gnomes for every season so I can like rotate them out. So I'm gonna put the gnomes in remake worthy. Love those, would remake those again. And then I also for that video made a big toadstool and a garland, which I don't have separate pictures of. So I just used this picture of me standing in front of the mirror because that's where I put them. Would make the garland again, wouldn't make the toadstool again necessarily, but it was fine, it was fun. So I'm gonna put them in hooked because I would remake the garland again. I do want to make more seasonal garlands to go with the gnomes also. And then I made some more Pokemon. I ended up making like 3 Pokemon for my last con of the year, which was Geek Village Winter Tales. If you've seen my last vlog, you will know what a disaster that was. If you haven't, go watch that video. But I loved making the Pokemon for it. I made a Cubone, which was a free pattern. I don't know if I told you guys which patterns are free or not, but there are quite a few free patterns that I've used throughout the year. I know the Onyx and the Azurill were also free. The Miffy Pillow was a free one. The Suit Sprites were free. The Chikorita was free. I think the Stardew Valley slimes were also free. And my One Piece hats are also free. But yeah, I made the Cubone and I really liked making the Cubone. It's cute. Would I remake it? I don't know, to be honest. I would not remake it, and I think it's cuter than it's cute. So I'm gonna put the Cubone in hooked. The Oddish, I ended up adding some blush to the Oddish, and I think I made 3 and none of them have sold so far. But I don't think I would remake them again, but it's cute. Then I made a Mareep, which was a pattern by Woolly Toons, which I had on my bucket list for a while because I really wanted to make it, just because I really liked it. And that was so much fun, especially the fur, which was like a lot of like chaining, slip stitch, chaining, slip stitch. I loved it. It was like a lot of work, I will say that, but I loved making the Mareep. Would I remake it again? Sure, but I would like to have some time in between that. So I'm gonna put Mareep in hooks because I would definitely remake it again. And I also used like special sticker eyes that I got from Crochet with Seuss or by Seuss. I don't remember exactly, but I will show you on the screen the Etsy shop that I got them from. And then we have the Demogorgon, the baby Demogorgon, which remake worthy. So much fun to make. Yeah, there it is. There it is. The little Demogorgon. They are quite a lot easier to make than the big Demogorgon. So then I ended up making one of my favorite characters of all time, which is Cat Avery from the book Fangirl. Fangirl is one of my favorite books. I actually have a little vlog up where I made Cat, and I'm currently working on her love interest, which is Levi. I haven't finished Levi yet though, that's why he's not on this tier rank. But I loved figuring out the pattern for Cat because I made the pattern myself. There was no pattern to be found, so I made it myself. And I turned her into a little shelf sitter because I put some wire in the legs so they can like bend. And she turned out so fun. The thing with dolls is though that they're a lot of work and they're not necessarily remake friendly. However, I do have to remake her again for the pattern to take pictures of all the limbs and stuff. So I'm gonna put her in hooked, I think, because she is really fucking cute. I loved figuring out, I love making her. And I would definitely make her on a commission, but not to bring with me to conventions or anything because she's way too niche for that. So yeah, Cat will go in hooked. Then I made a Gear 5 Luffy, also from Woolly Toons, which, oh my god, he turned out massive. He's a literal baby, like literally the size of a baby, maybe even bigger, and so much fun. So much fun. I don't remember, I think I even sized down my hook for this because normally I use a 8mm hook for Elise yarn. This time I used a 6. He still turned out massive, and I think just for that reason I am gonna put him in It's Cute, because while I love making big plushies, they don't always sell well at cons. In the back of my head I know I should not factor this in while tier ranking them, but I do that anyway. No, then I'm gonna put it in its hook because I definitely would remake this one again. Just not anytime soon. And then I have an honorary mention, which is the little mushroom boy, which I have made like 20 of these over the past year. I haven't really talked about them in my vlogs, but they always sell. At every con, people will buy the mushrooms. They always sell. They're really fun to make. It's the only pattern I know by heart. So I wanted to give them an honorary mention. And I think I'm gonna put the mushroom guy in remake worthy because I've made 20 of these guys. They're always fun. They always sell. They're so cute. Everybody loves them. Why should I not put them in remake worthy? Oh my god, we're done. The tier rank is done. We did it. I think I did pretty well. There are only 2 patterns in Covered in Fluff, which that is good. that is what you want. That you don't want patterns that are like super annoying to make. So yay. I actually ended up putting more patterns in Remake Worthy than I thought I would, but I do see that most of the patterns are in hooked, which I think I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, this is my final tier rank, guys. Let me know if you agree with any of this, if you've made any of these and you would put them higher or lower. Would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different, but I really wanted to make a tier rank video. And we're at the start of the new year. I thought it was a really good moment to make this video. I think I'm gonna make one again next year, because I make a lot of stuff and it's fun to do a little throwback to what all the things I've made, because I had definitely forgotten about a few of them. Let me know down in the comments if you made any of these and how much you liked making them. I will leave the links to all my shops and my socials in the description below if you want to go check out my patterns. And check out my last video where I vended edit the worst convention of my life. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like. I appreciate it a lot. And I will see you guys either in the next video or at the next convention. Bye!